Hello and welcome to Alchemy for the 21st Century, the Rebirth of Resistance. My name's Gary.
My name is Kevin.
And we're here to talk with you about current events. And one of the things we like to do a little bit is do a little recap of the stuff we talked about for 2015. If you've been checking out our videos, what you would see is we have already talked about the idea of 2015 being a very active cosmic year with a lot of changes, awareness, people in the streets, and shocks. We also talked about the idea of the deconstruction of social reality. That's primarily in your face. We also, too, talked about the replacement of the common core reality or consensus reality, okay, from one that was one time built upon high ideals to one that is really constructed upon basic drives, basic fears, and it's also governed by antagonistic and combative attitudes. And we're seeing that everywhere.
Yeah, it's in the news every day.
Every day. Okay, you can see that in politics. Matter of fact, you could actually go to the restaurant and see it.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Okay, it's really permeated the culture. The other thing that we talked about too was that the West would become mired in its fantasies of ideologies.
They're seeing that today in the news.
Oh yeah, definitely in the news. And that's definitely a political thing. And it's very, very sad too, because this is also driving how immigration is handled. Okay, and these are relatively unfortunate people.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is global.
It's global.
This is global, okay? And the other thing that we talked about too, and is relatively important here, is that we talked about the Middle East crisis, that the land of the Hittites would have to make a decision.
Isn't that Turkey?
And that Turkey, yeah, land of Turkey, okay? And Turkey is definitely engaged in this now. And we also, too, talked about the idea that it's not a East-West conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. What we talked about, we are seeing now evidence of a third player.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, so that's in there. So we also, too, we talk about cosmic windows. Okay, and let me explain that to you. A cosmic window has nothing to do with prophecy, predictions. It's about
consciousness in a way, time and thinking.
Yes, okay. What it's really talking about, and Kevin's right on target here, is that a cosmic window is about patterns of behavior, patterns of time and behavior related that one can actually take guesses on. Okay, so once you become aware of a different way of time, okay, you become aware of these patterns.
I call that movement.
Movement, okay, because consciousness and time are intertwined.
As I always said, as above, so below.
As below, okay, and the first cosmic window we talked about was March 20th, give or take 3 days. And if we take a look at that, what do we see happening? We see people in the streets, the spillover from the Ferguson, but also too is there's people in the streets everywhere, common themes, injustice and loss of dignity.
It was global.
And it's global. Okay, this is what it's all about. We also too talked about, also in this window what we've seen, okay, is that you had the Israeli elections and Netanyahu won from behind. This is relatively important because, again, too, this is direction for the Middle East. Okay, and that one can see that if one studies this platform. Okay, it's in there. Okay, it's in there. The other thing that we saw, too, was the increase in the escalation of the war with Yemen. Okay, Saudi Arabia.
Fundamental change in their governing style.
Yeah, real fundamental change, okay? And then we have too is that, and this is real very, very sad, okay, but this was on the back side of the window, is when you had that airplane crash from Germany where it flew into the mountain.
Definitely affects how people think.
Yes, it does, okay? Sad as it is, okay, there's a message in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and we also talked about, too, is that the a little nation that was going to try to take its financial destiny back.
That'd be Greece.
That'd be Greece, okay? Now the problem here is we talked about this, okay? There was a fundamental flaw in the plan. You don't change structure from within, okay? And the Greeks are finding this out a hard way, and it is still very sad again. Okay, but again, too, is you don't do that. It does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we also went to our second cosmic window, and that would have been June 20th, give or take 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at that, we see what happened is that during that window, we had the events that happened in Baltimore. Okay, sad as it is, okay, its direction, people in the streets, okay, basically over the same thing, injustice and loss of dignity. We also, too, have a conflict over a Civil War relic, okay, and also, too, we had the passing of the TPP, and this is relatively an important step because now, okay, we become part of a region, and this is all about, okay, market participation and emerging markets. Yeah, so what we're going to see here is the possibility is you don't, in a market participation or emerging market, job creation is secondary. What you look for is new markets to sell your junk.
Ready-made consumers.
Yeah, ready-made consumers. And that's what we're looking at here. And if you look at this too, there was other things that occurred.
The 2 Supreme Court decisions.
Big deal. Okay, these are big deal decisions because it changes motion. You know, it pushes us in another direction. Okay, and if we put this all together, okay, what we can say is 2015 so far has really produced a lot of change.
Yeah, it's been that way since 2010.
Yes, and you see movement in consciousness.
It's rapid and it's real.
Yeah, and it's very real. Okay, and 2 is this brings us to another date of interest, and that date of interest is going to be August 15th, give or take 4 days, and 4 days because this is a really big window. Okay, and we also have a second window in August, and that date is August 25th, give or take a day. Now, we're not telling you something bad's going to happen. This is not about prediction.
Just about, as I said before, movement, changes in consciousness, and direction.
Yes, okay, motion. So I say too, is nudging along in a certain way. And it's going to bring up another topic too, is I found something interesting. I was watching RT the other day, the Kaiser Report, and they was talking about solutions. Okay, and one of the things they brought up was a individual's analysis, and his conclusion was that the world will not change until a new human being arrives. Okay, interesting, but okay, it can be looked at in a different way. Okay, is that maybe what we could say here is the world will not change until humanity becomes aware of another paradigm, okay, that changes human behavior, desires, and potentials, and creates not a new human being, but another type of human being that functions on an ancient structure.
This struggle's been going on for thousands of years.
Thousands of years, nothing new here. Nothing new here. It's just being somehow being played out on a different level.
In a modern way.
Yeah, in a modern way. Okay, and the other part they talked about that was interesting too was that we are now living in a post-capitalistic world that is neither capitalism nor socialism. One could say there's truth to that, but it could be explained a different way, okay? Is that if you look at it, okay, is that from this perspective, is that capitalism, socialism, communism, or whatever, okay, are fundamentally the same. They are top-down systems where the few distribute to the many.
Just how the goods are allocated.
Yeah, exactly, okay? And they're basically the same direction. That's it. What we may be seeing here, and this, you know, we could look at this differently. We could be seeing here, okay, is a movement back to its original root. and that original root would be a dynastic structure. Okay, and the reason we're pointing this out, okay, is that a dynastic structure has some characteristics that we really need to look at, and what we are seeing happening, okay, is number one, a dynastic structure is above common law.
It creates its own laws.
Creates its own laws that are self-serving. Okay. Number two in this, okay, is one must have belief and faith in it. Okay, because like I say, two is if you do not believe in it, it does not work for you. Okay. The other particular part too is that the dynastic structure is not dependent upon its workforce.
It's almost like an employer's market.
Yes, it's the inverse. Okay, you depend upon it.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're seeing that. The three things that we were seeing here are here. The other particular characteristic is that its opposition is dealt with harshly. Okay, so what we can sort of say here is that maybe what we're looking at is a neo-dynastic structure, okay, that is implying or is, applicating a new structure of ruling.
A new way.
A new way, okay, and that new way, okay, is no longer dependent upon its workforce, but it depends upon its technology, automation,
And artificial
intelligence, and maybe, just maybe, that is the third hand.
Yeah, what they wanted a decision to be made, they plug it into a computer. The computer analyzes it, and then they do what they have to do.
Exactly, and one of the places you can see this played out is in the banking system, okay, and in the so-called rigged market system. Okay, but anyway, too, is I hope that you like our interpretation, and you will continue viewing our videos. And if you have a little time, check out our website. We have a book talking about another way of thinking, about another paradigm. Okay, because in order to sometimes understand the future, you must begin to think differently.
From a new perspective.
From a new perspective, okay, and that changes you. Okay, thank you again very much.
Thank you.